damn that's on my TV. So, man, you said something last week about wanting a boat. I know you'll be home soon.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different kinds of boats,
Bro, there's hundreds. I thought the electric car discussion was hard.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many, and they all can maybe do different things, but they're really designed to do a specific function. And, in full disclaimer, the only boats we're discussing today are freshwater inland boats. We will not be discussing offshore saltwater boats.
Good.
That's a whole nother event and pocketbook that I do not have. I could not afford offshore. I'd love to have one, man. So, I think with young kids, the thing that you think about is you want to be able to, be safe because I just bought a boat last year. I could come up with a montage. I resurrected a boat last year. I took on somebody's project. The boat was literally dead. And with my kids' help and my father-in-law, man, we pulled it through, man. It's a boat again. And it was dead. It was all but just in the burn pile to, get rid of.
So did you have to buy a new engine?
I bought a different engine. It's definitely not new. It is as old as I am. The engine and I are both 43 years old.
What did it cost you, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I mean, it could be a whole nother show, but I don't recommend anybody resurrecting a boat. But if you are a handy person and you have tools that span lots of disciplines, and I mean lots of disciplines, because in resurrecting a boat, we had to rewire some sections. So there was a lot of troubleshooting and wiring. That was like one section. And then the boat is not, the one we have is not new. It's 30 plus years old. It has had some fiberglass incidents throughout its life. And so we had some fiberglass work had to be done. So there was a body work first and a fiberglass. And then we recarpeted it. But before that, somebody had put this nasty, the kind of paint old ladies put on pots to make the pot look like it's cracked. So they had painted this all over the boat surface after they removed the carpet. Only I can hypothesize is they were trying to make it grippy where they could walk on it without having to recarpet it. It's just a hypothesis. I don't know. So we had to strip all this down, and thankfully the fiberglass and that gel coat is real tough. And so we were able to use some pretty strong paint removers to take all that off, clean it all up. It's all gone. You can't tell it was ever there. And we recarpeted the boat. And so that's another discipline, carpeting and cutting and gluing and all. I mean, anybody can do it, but it takes time.
All right, I have a question.
Okay.
So when you recarpet a boat, that's not like carpeting a house. A house, you got the little tacks, you shove it underneath there, put the trim on top, pulls it tight, go kicker at it.
Yeah.
You've got a carpeted house. Mm-hmm. How do you carpet a boat?
Well, thankfully you don't have to stretch it quite like a house. You do like push it out to get the bubbles out.
Sure.
Well, we had nothing. Normally, if you're recarpeting a boat, you pull the old carpet out, lay it down on the new carpet, and you like cut around like a pattern,
Sure.
So ours was a little bit longer in steps. So we had some blue plastic left over from your house project from putting underneath the laminate flooring. And I rolled that out on the boat, and we used like a Sharpie, and drew around and then kind of cut it out rough on the ground, laid it back in there, got it closer. And then we cut the carpet. It still wasn't right, so we had to go around with a knife and just trim the edges. But there's a certain kind of glue that's just for marine use. The deck of my boat is fiberglass, and then the hatches are all metal. So the glue is able to adhere to both, to the metal hatches and to the fiberglass. And you spread it out just like you do gluing carpet down in the house with a trowel and lay the carpet out. We rolled it out. We put weights on it, to hold it down to keep it from sprinkling up, But out the door, so we paid $400 for the boat with the trailer. It has a very nice trailer, and it's a very nice boat, 17 feet long. It did have an engine that was hanging on the back that absolutely didn't belong to the boat, and it was locked up. But I was able to sell that. I got $50 out of that, so now I got $350 in the boat. And materials, the carpet was with the boat already. We had to buy seats. The replacement seats, I think, were about $450. I think they're real nice. They're super nice seats, very high quality. The batteries are expensive. So for a bass boat like this one is, you have to have a battery just to start the engine. And it also runs like accessories like the bilge pumps and the live wells and all the lights. But then the trailer motor I bought is a 24 volt, so it has to have two batteries, and they're pretty good size batteries, and they're made a little different so that you can drain out of them a long period of time with high amperage. You know, you can draw for a long period of time. I bought the cheapest ones I could find. They were at Tractor Supply. You take care of your batteries; they should last a long time. You know, it's not like they shouldn't. But the batteries, the three batteries all together, that was probably another $350, easy. You know, for three batteries. You know, probably more than that. I thought it sounded kind of cheap when I said it. But I bet that's right. I bet it's $350. And then an engine. We found an engine on Facebook Marketplace down in Mississippi. I paid $600 for it. I didn't hear it run. He'd had it running on a boat. He had a video of him running it on a boat a few days before. You know, I had the date timestamp on his phone, but it took a little work. It was a little effort. I had to buy some other things to make it more functional, make it work better, you know. So anyway, but I think out the door, boat batteries, trailer stuff I had to buy along the way, bilge pumps. I'm somewhere around $2,500. I'm in a boat. It's paid for, you know.
Yeah, and $20,000 in time and effort.
It took a lot of time. Yeah, a lot of effort. But you know, that's not the trailer motor. I'm not gonna tell you that, you know, trailer motors are user specific. You'll buy the one if you buy a boat that needs a trailer motor, you'll buy the one that you want. Mine was expensive. More than what I have in the rest of the boat. The trailer motor is absolutely worth more than everything else involved in the boat.
So the reason why I asked about the engine is because a wise man on the other side of the screen has told me that when you buy a boat, you're buying the engine. That's the majority of the cost of the boat. It's just the engine.
I'm really surprised because the statement is very true. I'm surprised when you go buy a boat maybe $20,000. You know, brand new boat at the store, $20,000. But at most of the dealerships, they'll have a rack with a display. You know, and they show all these engines that their engine provider manufacturers. And if you ask for the price of one of those to repower your boat, it could easily be almost as much as just buying the boat, like you said. But you know, there's more money involved in the boat. You know, that they're not free. That I don't know how they can sell you an engine for $15,000, but they can sell you the boat for $20,000. There's more than $5,000 in a boat and a trailer. You know, it's got pumps and there's fiberglass or aluminum, and I don't get it. I don't understand.
So before we get started on this day, I talked to a friend of mine. He's on his third boat. He's a fisherman. This is what he does. He does not a sports guy. He doesn't do anything besides fish. So I haven't asked him about it. And he told me that if you get smart on this, he said you cannot go to insert box store and buy a boat tomorrow and think you're getting a great deal. You can't do it. He said, but if you pick out three or four different boats that you want, and you watch them and you track them and you watch them and you track them, and you have 12 months, a day will come. He said, you're going to have to go up here probably every weekend or every other weekend. But a day will come when you walk in there and it's surprisingly different in price. He said, do not wait for it to get to a better price. You just got to buy it right there.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. You got to jump. Yeah, you got to strike an iron's hot. Yeah, if you see a good deal, you got to get it. And I would think that's I mean, I think strategies for buying boats, that's almost a whole nother show. You don't have to buy a brand new boat. There's definitely a used dealership market for boats.
Right.
There's a way to do it. But I think that if I have a bass boat, it's pretty much going to be me. It might be my granddaughter or my kid or my wife. We're not going to be that far from home. I can pretend that I have people I could call and maybe they'll come help me out there on the water. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not on big water. I don't know that I would take my engine on big water. I mean, Beaver Lake is pretty good size, but I'm not taking it to the river. I'm not taking this engine to Oklahoma. Now, eventually I would like to buy another engine. If I got one a little bit newer that I thought I could depend on more than I would. But when you drive a car, the whole boat thing is such a change from what we're used to. When you drive a car, you can drive it at a safe speed. And if something mechanical happens, you can pull over on the road and stop. And you're static. You know, when you turn it off, it's static. Nothing's changing. Somebody might run you over. I'm not saying that bad things can't happen, but still, man, when you're on that water, it's you, baby. That boat of mine, I would never recommend anybody buy a boat as small as mine. I didn't know I've learned so much because of this. I know now that I would only get a 20 or longer boat, 20-foot or longer boat. 17 feet is just not long enough. It's wide. I mean, 3 people could be on my boat. 3 people could be on a boat and kind of fish and not be knocking each other over when they cast. But it's pushing it. 2 people is pretty much very comfortable. 2 people is the very comfortable max because it's only 17 feet long. So, I mean, I think that's a big thing to think about. But it is a fiberglass boat, which means that it's a kind of wedge shape. Pontoon boats at being 17 feet would probably be okay because they're more rectangular and you got a lot more space, that comes out the front and it's not coming up to a point. And you got like a little rail, it kind of makes you feel like you're safer because you got the railing on the side. That's something I just kind of had to learn, was that I'd only get a 20-footer. That's why those pros fish in big boats. And, it's a little more stable. But when you get out there in that water, man, that's all you got is 17 feet long. It's your own island. You got to depend on it to get you back. And you want to go out there and have fun. You don't want to have a bad day. You want to have a good day,
Yeah.
Buying boats, man, you got to decide what activity do you want out of your boat. I'm sure you don't like to fish, so I'm sure you don't want a bass boat. But you got to decide what you want it to do.
Pull tubes.
Uh-huh.
Pull a tube.
Pull a tube, huh? Bass boats are fun, you can get out there with whoever, you can stand there. It's a very stable platform. They're real low in the water so that the wind won't push you around. Wind's a big factor when it comes to boats. But but bass boats are, they're good for that. You can do other things with bass boats. I'm not, you could actually pull a tube. You can pull skis with a bass boat. It's not really made for it, but there are ways to do it and do it safely. But when you want to pull a tube, man, I mean, who doesn't want to be in a tube, Tubes are the stuff,
I'll admit,
I guess. I've never done it, I've never been on a tube, but it sure looks fun. I mean, not like that. I mean, I've been on like an old tractor tube and get drugged behind boat, but
right. That's what I was thinking about. Not that. That's nice.
Yeah, man, that's sweet. You buy these like at Sam's now,
Wow.
Yeah.
Now I have a question.
Yeah.
All right. What do I have to do to toss that boy off the tube?
Well, the one that's holding the girl's hand or the other one?
Oh, I didn't see him. So the one with the blue life jacket. I can't get the dude in the middle.
Yeah. Blue life jacket needs to go. Yeah. He's getting a little.
I feel like the guy in the middle. He knows there's a Jason driving because he's in the middle of the 2 girls. He knows Daddy can't flip me without getting the other 2 girls too. But on blue jacket,
yeah,
it's like just one tap of the boat and there he goes.
All right, so we know we want tubes probably. There's other water activities too, man. This is probably more. This is probably be more fun. I mean, tubes are fine when you got little kids, and
that does look fun.
Knee boards, man. You don't have to learn how to ski. You're not trying to like stand on skis. You just get out there, get on your knee.
You're just hanging on.
Yeah. The only thing is this is the hard part for me is being the guy not driving a boat.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I want to get out there too, I want out there too, but you gotta if you've been throwing other people off, you gotta worry about them throwing you off when it's your turn out there in the water,
That's true. That's true.
And so that brings a whole other thing up. In Arkansas, I should have looked this up. In Arkansas, there is such a thing as a boating license.
Yeah.
I don't have to have one. I'm too old. But if you're born somewhere in the 80s, I think 84, 85, somewhere in there is when after that you have to have a boating license to operate a boat in the state of Arkansas. I looked it up in Oklahoma, and I think it's 15 to 18, or 15 to 17. So if you're older than 17, you don't have to have one. But a teenager would have to have a license to operate a boat. Same with personal watercraft. You call it a jet ski, but it's a personal watercraft, what they call it. And I think it's a good idea because we grew up, we didn't have boats growing up. There's a lot of things about them I don't know. I have no muscle memory to go along with the boat. I've had to kind of develop some skills. But the all favorite, man, was just to go get the family, head out to the lake, get the party barge.
Woo!
This one's a little fancier. It's kind of nice. It's got some places back there to just kind of lay down. It's all plush, but they're not all that fancy. I like how this one, how the console for the driver is actually towards the front. Most of them are like towards the back, and you can't see over all the people. If you got a lot of people on there and you can't drive because everybody's in the way, you know. I think that's pretty cool.
So,
That
yeah.
the front.
Do you have a price tag on this boat?
I do not. I do not.
Oh,
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. So there's something about party barges that I like about this one. Besides that, this one has a deck on the front and there's a deck on the back.
Mm.
And first, I mean, but what do you when you think about getting on a boat and going out to the lake? What do you picture yourself really doing?
Driving.
So first, I want to tell you that my boat ramp is about 12 minutes from the house.
Okay.
If my boat is hooked up and all I'm doing is just getting in a truck, going to the ramp, and getting on the water, it literally takes me, huh?
So I'm glad you brought that up, man. One of the guy I was talking about, he told me that if I get a boat, that I need to take it out there with a friend, not my spouse.
That's what they all say.
Yeah. Bring a 12 pack or a 30 pack and make a day of getting it in the slip and parking.
Yeah, he's right. And you know, you had to find a pretty quiet boat ramp too. That way you can practice at it first, and then you need to go to the one that you're going to launch at all the time and practice there.
So that was the other thing he said is to practice alone. Don't bring the wife out. Don't bring the kids out.
Yeah.
He said practice parking, pulling, and so you can literally do it while listening to your wife tell you what she has to pick up from Walmart.
Yep.
He said because you don't want the first time you've done this with 25 people around.
Oh, there have been marriages have been ended over the first trip to the boat ramp with the wife and kids. It's important to not think that as a first time boater that you know what to do. You don't know what to do. You just think all you know is you want to go out there and party, man. You got the ice chest, you know, you got the hot dogs, you know, you're ready to go. But what I was saying is that it takes me if everything's ready to go from the time I leave my house until I'm actually on the water, in the body of water, in the main channel, it takes me 45 minutes.
Okay.
That's just getting on the water.
Right.
So if you're planning to go a day to the lake, you got to plan your day at the lake. And that means you got to take everything with you.
Yeah.
Everything with you.
Everything.
Yeah. Not just the ice chest with the cold drinks. You got to have, you know, a stack of Arby's roast beef sandwiches or something. You can just eat cold sandwiches. But if you're out there with a wife and kids, chances are you want to beach that thing on an island somewhere and have a weenie roast. That's a whole nother. That takes a whole other thing, you know. You got to have the ketchup and the mustard and the buns and the hot dogs and something to turn the hot dogs with. So some of these party barges have attachments though, where you can attach a charcoal grill to the side of it, and it like hangs over the edge of the outside over the water. Doesn't take up room on the boat, and all the fire is not on the boat. It's just off the boat, you know.
Right.
They're pretty popular. I see them a lot. Also, deck boats, not just party barges, but also deck boats have moved on to having that. I think I got a picture. Maybe I got a picture of a deck boat. Nope, I didn't. I sure don't. But my party barges are great. Party barges go pretty fast now. You can get some to go pretty quick, so you can tow a tube. My issue with party barges is, I'm sorry, this is the smallest picture ever, man. I'm so sorry, but if you squint, a party barge trailer is made so the trailer only engages the pontoons on each side.
Oh wow!
And so the pontoons may be 18 or 20 inches in diameter, but it only rests on about 10 inches of each side of that trailer. And so you have to like line it up to get it just right. And some people will put guides toward the back of the trailer. It's really about just getting the rear. If you can kind of get the rear right above the rails, as you go forward, then it'll settle in where it needs to be. You know, you're in a good spot. And that's I found a kit though by a company. So I think this is kind of the fix. This may be for lots of people. If anyone's watching the show, I'd be happy to submit the details to you. So they sell this kit that bolts onto the frame. You can see the two guides there on the inside. They're kind of a grayish color.
Yeah.
Facing out. That way you can just run your pontoons along each side of that, and it straightens you out. You know. And man, when you're on the water, you need all the help you can get. There's no giggling about old man or nothing. You need all the help you can get. I launch in at a dock that is landlocked. It's a interior, interior. It's kind of a peninsula anyway, but then it makes a very wide interior with a very small opening. The water is dead calm, and I still struggle to get my bass boat on the trailer. And I don't have any of those issues that pontoon boat's got. I have no current, just winds. All I have to deal with, and I still, man, it's a
Yeah.
it could be no fun.
Yeah.
So, you got to go on the boat type, man. What kind of boat does Jason need? We got towboats, towboat, ski boat,
Mm-hmm.
So what's unique about a ski boat, or also called towboat, is if you note where the rope is connected to the boat, to this boat, it's right behind the driver, right in the center of the boat. That means that nobody can be behind the rope
Oh, dang.
when you're pulling a skier.
That's terrible.
This real ski boats, and there are lots of them, and there's a lot of them set up just like this. Real ski boats are really made only to ski.
One person.
Yep, ski.
Dang.
And there are some ski boats that are set up differently, where it's towards the back. I'm not saying it's the only way, but that's the more traditional way. But the solution has been to develop this new monster, the wake boat, WAKE, wake boat. This one will tow from the back. In fact, there's a rope right now tied to a loop. It'll tow on each side. You can tie somebody to each side of the thing. Go two at a time. I wish I could move my mouse and do it as a pointer. So, if you notice on that thing, that black bar thing over the top of the roof is called a wake tower.
Right here.
The tower at the very top, those round barrel looking things facing backward.
Yeah.
Those are speakers.
What?
Yeah.
So you can literally reach back there and be like, John, you suck.
You play the loudest freaking rock music you want to play.
Or that.
And it's just blasting backward, man. Like everybody's partying. Even the person back there on the knee board or in the tube, man, they're hearing it too. But yes, you could obviously use a PA also, but it's for partying.
Cool, man. Give them a little dance music.
That's right, man. A little dance music, yeah.
Yeah.
On each side of the tower, there's a black thing that's laying horizontally. That's the knee board. It's made to like lock in on the side so it doesn't take up room on the boat.
What? That's cool, man. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Wake boats, they're the way. They're not.
That is cool.
Not cheap. Pontoon boats are cheaper than wake boats, or can be. Some can be more expensive.
Sure.
Boats.
So I can tell you that you have made the decision harder, not easier. But that was your goal, and you succeeded.
Well, I don't want you to make a mistake because you really got to figure out what you want. And I've heard lots of people say, and I'm not sure it's correct. I've heard lots of people say, go rent one first and see what you like. That may be so. Renting a boat for an afternoon can be about equivalent of one boat payment. So if you can make a boat payment, you can afford to go rent a boat for an afternoon. So that might be the way to do it and figure it out. But I think that you could go take the boat out for an afternoon with the ice chest and the kids and the wife and everything. And it might be the way. You may decide this ain't the boat I want, or you may fall in love and not ever try another one.
Right. I could see where, like, if I rented the boat and it was already in the slip and it was already ready to pull out,
yep,
you might fall in love with that boat, not even realizing that you fell in love with the circumstance, not the boat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, once you figure out how to launch and retrieve your boat, that's not going to be the challenge. That can be the hardest part. But the experience of being out there on the water, being away from the house, not listening to your cell phone, nobody's looking at their phone, everybody's out there having a good time. Find a shallow spot, man, throw the anchor down, everybody just jump in and swim around, jump off the front of the boat, dive in, dive out,
So let me ask you this, boat salesman. If we're talking Paige, Lex, Raina, plus friends, their mom and dad, I think we can take bass boat and throw it out.
Hey man, pontoon boats don't go that fast, but when you got little kids, you're not really gonna be going that fast anyway.
No.
But if you got a big tube, man, you got everybody's out there on the tube.
Yeah.
You want to swap them out, man. Wife out there tubing for a while, then she drives, you're on the tube for a while.
Right. And a tube is beast, man. But I feel like you said, if I can get a pontoon that can pull a tube and put the kids on the tube, the adults on the pontoon, the kids are happy. The adults finally have a little break from the monsters. Wives talking about wife stuff, guys up in the front. Could be the way to go.
Yeah. It's been a great show. You're going to buy a boat.
I'm trying to decide. So this was a great show, and I loved it. I need you to do me a favor, though, man.
Yeah.
Jet skis, first boat. Because Paige wants both. Because she's like Deion Sanders from the early 2000s. Jerry was like 15, 20 million. Deion was like both. I feel like that's how Paige is right now, man. She's like, you could be on the boat and I could be on the jet ski. And I was like, that's expensive. And a whole nother truck.